Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Penn Engineering Online's admissions webinar. My name is Jacquie Panto. I am the Associate Director of Admissions for Penn Engineering Online, and my job is to help potential students who are interested in our online graduate programs. Myself and my team help those potential students through the application process, through the admissions process, and we try to help every step of the way. Today's webinar, we are focusing on one of our online programs. We are focusing on our Masters of Science in Engineering in Artificial Intelligence program, and otherwise known as our MSE-AI program for short. So today we have a very special guest with us. We have Professor Callison-Burch. And Professor Callison-Burch is going to be talking all about the details of the MSE-AI program. He'll go through who the program's designed for, what you need to kind of apply to the program, what the program's all about, what you can kind of expect after you complete the program. He'll talk about the program curriculum, and he's also, not only is he a program director, but he also teaches in the program, and he'll talk a little bit about the course that he teaches. So you actually, if admitted to the program, will have an opportunity to work with Professor Callison-Burch by taking his course. So lots of exciting things to come. When that's over and Professor Callison-Burch is done talking about the MSE-AI program, he'll turn it back over to me. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the community, what it's like, how you can get involved. I'll also talk about the application deadlines. I'll talk about tuition. So lots of other things that I'm going to cover as well. But we will make sure that we allow time for Q&A because that's really important. We want to be able to answer your questions. So lots of great information coming your way. So we're going to get started. But before we dive into the presentation, just want to talk a little bit about some webinar useful information. So number one, we are being recorded. There's no need to take notes. You can watch this webinar as much as you want. And in fact, we have an entire YouTube channel where we house all of our previous recorded webinars. It is such a great resource when you're trying to learn about our programs or our online community. Definitely recommend you go in there, take a look at those webinars. We have webinars with current students that talk about their experience. We have webinars with alumni that talk about what it was like to be a student and what they're doing now that they've graduated from our programs. We also have application element webinars, so all different types of webinars with faculty, students, alumni. Highly recommend you take a look at that and look at some of our past recorded webinars. If you have questions today during this webinar, what we're going to ask you to please do is use the Q&A function on the Zoom toolbar. So you want to use that function. You want to type in your questions in that area. And then we have a bunch of people from the admissions team that are behind the scenes, and they'll be answering those questions. They'll be answering those questions in that toolbar, and they'll also be sending questions which we'll be answering, which Professor Callison-Burch and myself will be answering during that Q&A section towards the end of the presentation today. Okay, so a little bit of work for you to do in typing out those questions, but we'll be sure to get them all answered for you. So what I wanted to start with, I know you're all probably at the point where you're getting all your facts. You're learning about our MSE-AI program, and you're probably looking at different schools and different types of programs and trying to figure it all out. So what I wanted to start with is why Penn Engineering Online? What is it about Penn Engineering Online that makes us so great? What are our points of difference? So the first, we've kind of narrowed it down to 4. But the first one has to do with our faculty. You are going to be working with, and if admitted, your courses are going to be taught by the same faculty that teaches our on-campus program. So the same world-renowned faculty who are not only excellent in terms of educators, they're incredible researchers as well. So you're going to have access, you're going to be taking the same courses that are offered basically on campus and being taught by that same world-renowned faculty. And keep in mind that our faculty have office hours as well. So if you have questions, you need to interact with them, you will be able to do so as well. The other point of difference deals with how all of our courses are asynchronized. So there is nothing required. There's no lecture that's required to log into. There's no course you have to log into. There's nothing at all that is synchronized. Everything is completely asynchronized. Now, there are some events and recitations that you can, if you want to join virtually at a certain time, but they're typically recorded and you have availability to those recordings. So there's nothing that you really ever have to log into, which makes this very unique and extremely flexible, which is our third point, has to do with flexible course schedule. You design your own schedule. Our program is 10 courses, but you can decide if you want to do, if one semester you want to be part-time and the next semester you want to be full-time. That is totally up to you. So it's great for individuals who perhaps during the fall months, September to December, maybe they're busier in work, so they're only going to take one course in that semester. And then in the spring, they're not quite as busy as their job, so they can pick up full-time and take 3 courses in that semester. And you can kind of do that throughout the entire time in the program. You can have that flexibility to design your own schedule. The thing to remember that students must take courses in the fall and in the spring. You can take 1 course or up to 4 courses, but you don't have to take courses in the summer. That's optional. The great thing is that we have basically a full a list of courses to take in the summer. So if you want to keep the pace, or if you want to pick up the pace and take a course or 2 in the summer, you certainly can do so. But you have to take courses in the fall and in the spring as well. Okay, that's really like the only big requirement. So again, our world-renowned faculty, nothing is synchronized, tons of flexibility. So those are the first 3 reasons why Penn Engineering Online is so great and unique. But the 4th reason, which is probably my favorite topic, and I can talk all day about this, is our community. The Penn community is truly amazing. It's collaborative, it's robust. There's just so much about it, and so many ways for our students to get involved with the community. There's a community of students, faculty, staff. Everybody that you come in contact with is so willing to help each other to move ahead and to reach their goals. And I really think that's what makes us so unique. And you're going to find, I'm going to talk a little bit later about how to get involved and what some of those resources are. But we really, truly have an amazing collaborative community. So I'm going to turn it over now to Professor Chris Callison-Burch, and he's going to go over the MSE-AI program. So Professor Callison-Burch, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Jackie. Hi, everyone. Great to meet you. Thanks so much for your interest in our program. So as Jackie mentioned, I'm the faculty director for the Masters of Science and Engineering in Artificial Intelligence. So it's a really exciting brand new degree that we're offering through Penn Engineering Online. And just as Jackie said, all of the professors who you take classes with for Penn Engineering Online are the same that you would take classes with on campus. So I am a professor in the computer science department. I've been at Penn for a little over a decade. I teach both on campus and in the online degree program our artificial intelligence course at the graduate level AI class, which, because of the popularity of AI, has now reached the largest enrollment of any class on campus. I joke only half jokingly that in order to accommodate more students on campus, we're going to have to move from the biggest lecture theater here to the sports stadium. So there's lots of interest and excitement, and I'm really, really happy to be able to teach you that identical course material that we teach online. I have been in the field of artificial intelligence for now many, many years. I got my bachelor's in a interdisciplinary degree at Stanford University in the year 2000. It was called the Symbolic Systems Program, combining computer science, linguistics, and a little bit of psychology and philosophy, introducing concepts like how humans perceive the world and theory of mind and logic and sort of interesting things that treat artificial intelligence as a broad, multidisciplinary endeavor. After I finished up at Stanford, I went to the University of Edinburgh in Scotland and got a PhD in another crazily named degree program, which was a PhD in informatics. I think I'm collecting as many strangely titled degrees as I can. The reason that I've been excited about uh, symbolic systems and informatics is because they relate to how do computers process human languages. So my subfield of artificial intelligence is called natural language processing. It's the discipline that gave rise to large language models. I joke that I've been into language models before they were big or before they were large. So I've had many, many years of experience in the field and seen the amazing transitions that have happened over the past few years. So in addition to teaching at Penn, I also have a team of 10 PhD students who actively do research in the field, and we publish in the main conferences from NeurIPS to the NLP specialty conferences like the Association for Computational Linguistics. And then, although I demur at the idea of being called world class at anything because I'm a little too humble, I did have the chance to testify before Congress recently about the impact of artificial intelligence on society, especially with a focus on intellectual property. So if you want to scan that QR code, I've posted clips of my congressional testimony on my YouTube channel that you're welcome to like and subscribe to. But it kind of gives a sense of the importance of this field and of artificial intelligence and how much it has really engaged everyone's imagination since the release of ChatGPT in 2022. So it's really been an astounding past few years, and I hope that this degree program will help you engage with this material to cross-train or to upskill yourself so that you can make a contribution to the new AI-driven economy. Next slide, please. So the type of student who we're aiming for this degree are students who have an undergrad degree in computer science or computer engineering. So Penn Engineering Online offers several degrees, and they're specialized, or they're kind of, they route students from different backgrounds into our different degree programs. So the Masters of Science in Engineering in Artificial Intelligence presupposes that you already have a computer science or computer engineering undergraduate degree. We also offer several other degrees, including our MCIT, our Masters of Computer and Information Technology degree, which is specifically designed to train people without a computer science degree to become computer scientists. So that we can talk more about that in the QA session if you'd like. So the goal is for anyone who has a degree in computer science or computer engineering who's excited about artificial intelligence to try to help you pivot into a career in AI within the tech sector. Um, So Jackie did a good job of highlighting a lot of the really exciting aspects of uh, the AI degree. I am really excited about our ability to reach a much larger audience through our online offerings. The courses are identical to the ones that we teach on campus. In fact, in the fall, I run the online and the on-campus in parallel. All of the teaching assistants are shared between the two courses. I hold office hours for online students as well as for on-campus students. It's really, there's no difference between the awesome offerings that we have on campus and the awesome offerings that we have online. So the goal of this particular degree is to give you the foundations that you need in order to understand and make contributions to the field of artificial intelligence. So we have several different pillars. We want you to understand the mathematical foundations of machine learning. We want you to understand the algorithmic and machine learning foundations of AI. And we also want you to understand the ethical implications of artificial intelligence as we move towards more and more competent AI systems with the potential for things like job displacement and things like intellectual property and all the sort of ethical implications that come alongside with these amazing machines that are also trained on real world data and may encode societal biases as well. So I think that everyone's probably already convinced if you're here that artificial intelligence is a growing field. We've seen really amazing growth in companies like OpenAI and Anthropic and Google and Meta and competitors like DeepSeek. So lots of really amazing things are happening right now. And I think it's not only those giant tech companies that are using the technology, it's every other company being able to potentially benefit from integration of AI technology into their own workflow. So our hope is that by the end of your degree, you'll be able to be a really excellent machine learning ops, AI ops, LLM ops type person, and you'll be able to um, benefit any company that wants to integrate AI into their tech stack, or that you'll be able to take advantage of what you learned and start your own company. And I think that right now is a really exciting time to be able to do new things with AI. Yeah, and so as I mentioned, I think there are lots of potential career outcomes. So the ops term is a big one. So ML ops, like being able to understand and manage a tech stack that you would need in order to run machine learning. That's a job that's been around for a while. There's now like variants of that for large language model ops, that sort of thing. So there's lots of careers that I think touch on the use of artificial intelligence and being able to understand the underlying technologies and select the right one for a particular job, as well as being able to benchmark the capabilities in order to measure if your company should switch from one provider to another. So our hope is that you'll gain an expertise in artificial intelligence and be able to help navigate a company to use it um, well, effectively as a business, but also in a responsible fashion. The AI degree program consists of several core courses that are the required classes that you'll take. Two of those are actually with me. The first two here, uh, 5210, which is our artificial intelligence class and takes you through a large set of topics. So it's a survey course in all sorts of different topics within AI. CIS 5300 is our deep dive into my own area of natural language processing, and that's where you'll learn more about generative models like GPT, generative pre-trained transformer models. Then we have several classes focusing on uh, the data science components of artificial intelligence taught by our electrical systems engineering faculty, including machine learning and statistics that you'll need for data science. We also have a mathematically focused version of deep learning, and we have an very popular internet and web systems class that incorporates a lot of AI into it. We have two brand new courses that we introduced specifically for this AI degree program, and those are the technology ethics and the legal landscape, which is co-developed with the law school here at Penn, specifically to try to guide us through the ethical landscape and the legal considerations that we need to be aware of in order to make good AI technology that's going to benefit society and make sure that our companies don't run afoul of the law. Um, and we also have a brand new GPU programming course focused on machine learning applications of GPUs. So I think that there's really exciting things to do. One of the most exciting things about artificial intelligence is the wide range of applications that it has and how you can study it from so many different levels. You can look at it from the systems engineering perspective on exactly how do you use GPUs to get the best performance out of the matrix operations that you need to power neural networks. You could look at it from the societal point of view, from the perspective of law and ethics. You could also look at it from the mathematical point of view or from the applications point of view. And we get a little bit of everything in this degree program. So you should have a really great perspective on many different aspects of artificial intelligence. And then in addition to the 7 core courses that you're required to take, we also have 3 additional courses that you will take, including 2 tech electives from computer vision to network systems to a new AI practicum class that'll give you like a portfolio building uh, version of creating a system or doing a research project under the mentorship of a faculty member, and then a free elective where you can take any of our online degree offerings. Right, next slide, please. So as a sample of one of the courses that you'll take as part of the core, my CIS 5210 class is the entry point for students who are taking the artificial intelligence degree. We cover a wide range of the different topics within artificial intelligence. So AI has an amazingly rich history. It's older even than me, going back more than 50 years. And so we look at a lot of the different algorithms that have been developed for AI, including search algorithms. So if you've taken an algorithms and data structures class before, you've probably seen things like Dijkstra's algorithms and shortest paths algorithms. So we'll review those and their applications to artificial intelligence for things like robot navigation and planning problems. And they're really a fundamental technology that allows us to build upon what you've already learned in your AI or in your computer science undergraduate degree. We also talk about machine learning, about probabilistic reasoning that gives you sound mathematical ways of coming to conclusions when you're given partial evidence about the world. We talk about different ways of representing knowledge and being able to make inferences using logical inference, as well as covering topics like natural language processing. This is a intensive programming class, so we have 10 homework assignments that are all in Python, and they're basically weekly homework assignments plus a midterm plus a final exam. And we have tons and tons of awesome TA help. So I think last semester we had 35 TAs and more or less around the clock office hours offerings. If you want to have a little preview of this course, the first 4 weeks of it are available on our Coursera specialization, which also has 3 of the other courses in our AI degree program. So you can get a little bit of the flavor of what the course would be like. So you can scan this QR code and check out our Coursera specialization in AI and machine learning essentials with Python. All right. So the experience of being a student in the program and learning the materials is a combination of uh, our pre-recorded lecture videos. So as Jackie mentioned, it's not synchronous, so we're not giving live streaming lectures. Instead, what we've done is we've taken our course materials and carefully adapted them to be digestible for online consumption, which means we've gone into the recording studio and had a professional videographer film us, and we've carefully edited our extemporaneous, otherwise extemporaneous lecture style into a really nicely polished set of lecture videos. So usually there's between an hour and an hour and a half worth of recorded lectures that are often broken down into smaller chunks for you to consume for each week. There's usually a textbook or lecture notes to accompany those, and then homework assignments or other types of assessment for each week, each module in the course. The benefit of this format is like you don't actually have to be on the same schedule as us here in Philadelphia, where if I'm giving a class at 3 p.m., you're probably going to be in work at that time, so no problem there. We do have several opportunities for engaging with us in live sessions. So every week the professors will hold online office hours. This is actually one of my most favorite parts of the program. Is I worried when we were first designing this that having online students would mean that I didn't actually get a chance to engage with them. But every week I have an awesome set of students who tend to come back each week and have discussions about the course material, about research that I'm engaged in, about AI in the news. So last night I had an hour-long discussion with all of the students in my natural language processing class about DeepSeek's R1 model that's really rattled Wall Street and has lots of really interesting geopolitical and technical implications. So that was really, really fun to have that conversation and relate it back to the course materials. In addition to professor office hours, we have one-on-one office hours with teaching assistants. They're really a great way of going into the course material and getting help with homework assignments, as well as discussion forums. Yeah, so it's a really wonderful experience, and many of the students who take our classes come back and are teaching assistants for them. So as Jackie mentioned, there's this really wonderful community aspect to the online master's degree here at Penn, and that's one of my favorite aspects. I get a chance to continue working with students after the class ends because a sizable fraction of folks ends up eventually coming back and being a teaching assistant for one or more of our classes. All right, I think I'll hand it back to Jackie.
Yeah, awesome. The other thing I wanted to mention too about the course structure, a lot of people think they're taking an online program and, everything's just going to get thrown to them. They're going to watch these videos. All the work is due by the end of the semester. And as long as they get everything in the end of the semester, they're good to go. And it's important to kind of remember that even though this is asynchronized and you kind of have flexibility, there is structure in that a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, Professor, a lot of times things are released in modules. So you're doing maybe a module or two at a time. There might be due dates every week or every other week. You're going to have to take a midterm on a certain day or certain days, scheduling them or finals. So there is structure to the program, and you are going to be locked into certain due dates, but you can do your work and watch your lectures and plan out your time within those module due dates. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it exactly. So it's not like you can start the semester at any point. We have a global calendar and a weekly schedule, but within that week, you don't have to watch the videos at a particular time, but you do have to turn in your homework on time.
Exactly. So there is some structure to it, even though there's a lot of flexibility involved. And I think that's important to remember. So let's talk a little bit about the community. Again, I said this is one of my favorite topics. So we give you lots of resources, and there's lots of ways to get involved and to stay involved. And it really is kind of up to you on, which of these you want to, embrace. So first of all, let's talk about connecting. I would say probably the backbone to the student community and even to the courses would be the Slack workspace. So everybody is involved in Slack. There's a student community within the Slack workspace. Pretty much every course has a Slack channel. Then Slack channels develop based on geographic location, sometimes just based on likes and dislikes. If you have pets, a book club maybe. I mean, just lots of different Slack channels that are even, have nothing necessarily to do with the program or the courses or education, but just to kind of get together on things. So lots of different ways to stay connected on Slack. And it really is the backbone of our programs in terms of communication. But from that, people wind up having, and we talk about that a little bit within events, but students wind up having meetups together or study groups because they realize in a Slack connection that they live in the same area and they might get together for a study group or socially or whatever the case may be. So Slack is really, really very much a great tool. In addition to that, there's a student LinkedIn group. There's our ed discussion boards, which are part of the courses. So just lots of ways to communicate, to stay connected, not only just to students, but to professors and to those all-important TAs that Professor talked about today as well. So those are key. And so that would be step one. And one of the first things that happens when you become a student is you get access you get information about how to access all of these great resources. In terms of events, we do try to make sure we have lots of both virtual events, and we have events where we invite our students to campus. So there's things like networking events, a lot of networking events with our career services department. The online program, Penn Engineering Online, has its own career services department, and lots of networking events with potential employers, even from the standpoint of not necessarily job placement, but just from what's going on in the industry, staying connected, how to interview, things along those lines. Commencement and something called Fall Fest are huge around here at Penn Engineering Online. We want our students to come to commencement. It's really important. We encourage you to come to commencement. It's a big deal around here. I always tell the story. One of my first big events after I started here was the very first graduation graduation event that we had. And when I walked into the room, we usually have like a little reception afterwards. When I walked in the room and I saw all these students who appeared to know each other for years, and in most cases, they were meeting each other for the first time. So you kind of see how the community works and how collaborative our online community is when you see things like that happening, in front of your very own eyes. We do conduct webinars, just like the admissions webinar today. Our student experience team, our advisors, they do a really good job of keeping you informed on, say, new courses or different processes that are happening, things along those lines. So there are different meetups with that, or they call them town halls. So lots of ways to kind of stay connected with, even within our own advising area and our student experience area. There's also clubs and associations that you can get involved with. A lot of our online students get involved with other Penn clubs, not necessarily things that have to do with online. As long as there is a virtual aspect to the club or the association, you certainly can get involved with it. And there's lots of ways and lots of great organizations out there. And we
Can I
keep,
also add one
yeah.
other good pitch for the getting involved? So, in addition to clubs and social events and things like that, the computer science department and the rest of Penn Engineering has weekly seminar series where we invite really distinguished researchers from around the country to give presentations about cutting edge research. So I always encourage the students in my class to take advantage of those as well. They're all streamed and most of them are recorded. So you get to hear from amazing researchers and see not only what you're learning in class, which might follow a textbook, but also like what's the latest and greatest. So that's another wonderful opportunity to engage with the Penn community.
Oh, that's great. And a lot of questions talk about, how do you stay on track with things that are changing within the industry? So that might be certainly one of the ways to do that. That's awesome. And then we talked about TAs. You can actually, TAs, it kind of goes both ways. They're helping you out, but you also may at some point want to become a TA. It's a great way to stay involved. It's a great way for your own learning ability as well. And of course, it's something where it can help offset your tuition expenses in addition to everything else that it helps with. We have teaching assistants, and then we also have something that's called the Teaching Learning Practicum, which is very similar to teaching assistants. So there's lots of different ways that you can get involved and really join in on this collaborative community. And we certainly hope that you do, and it's our job to make sure you know the resources and what you have available to you. And next, we're going to talk about, spend a little bit of time. I want to make sure we have enough time for questions. But in terms of the application, I know all of you or most of you are probably already working on the application or thinking about it anyway. But you can see on the left-hand side what our application elements are. Obviously, there's a resume. You need to write a personal statement. We need all unofficial college transcripts. So even if you, in your undergraduate career, one summer you took a math course at a local community college, we need that transcript. We need every transcript for every course that you have taken, undergraduate, master's, if you have another master's degree, PhD, whatever it is, we need your college transcripts. We require 2 letters of recommendation, but we often will suggest that you seek out 3. Letters of recommendation are an element that's out of your control. It's up to the recommenders to submit those letters and to submit them on time because everything is due by application deadline. So we require to read your application, but we always say to seek three so that you have a safety net. Test scores for GRE test scores are optional. They can help, they can certainly help with your application. They are not required. So there are plenty of students or applicants that get admitted that do not have GRE scores, but there's some applicants that get admitted because the GRE scores might push them over the bar. So it just depends on what you feel your overall application looks like. And then, of course, English language proficiency. That is going to be required for anyone that is not a U.S. citizen or not a U.S. permanent resident. You will be required to submit an English language proficiency test. We take TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo, and that requirement can be waived if you graduated either an undergraduate program or a master's program. If you graduated from a program where the primary mode of instruction was English, if the primary language was English, then that requirement can be waived. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see all of our dates and deadlines. Our first deadline is coming up March 3rd. I can't believe it's almost a month away, but March 3rd is what's considered our early application deadline. If you want to receive your decision earlier, decisions are returned April 11th. If you want to apply to the Dean's Master's Scholarship, the only time you can apply to the Dean's Master's Scholarship is during early round when you're applying. So if your application is late and you apply to regular round, you cannot apply to the Dean's Master's Scholarship. You will not be considered for it. You're only able to apply to the Dean's Master's Scholarship during the early application round. Okay, so just wanted to make sure I point that out. If you need more information about application elements, the admissions team is happy to help you. We have coffee chats every week. Come to a coffee chat and we'll talk about those elements with you and we can kind of dive into them. Or go back to those recorded webinars and look up an Application Insights webinar. And we go through each of the elements in detail in any of those webinars, or like I said, please come to either office hours or come to coffee chats. We'll go through those application elements with you. It's no problem. And next slide. We had a lot of questions when people registered about tuition and fees, so I just did want to go over that. This is our tuition for 24-25, so our current academic year. Right now, our tuition is $3,500 per course unit. A course unit is a course. Okay, so we have 10 course units or 10 courses in the program. So the tuition for this year is $3,500 per course, and it's $156 for an online service fee per course unit. So that's the cost this year. Tuition does go up a point or a few points every year, so you want to take that into consideration when you're trying to, budget the total cost of the program. But you can use this, these prices here and kind of maybe pat it a little bit on the upper end so that you know what you're dealing with. There are some courses that are half course units, so then tuition would be half this for half course units. If you have any questions about that, let the admissions team know. We'll be happy to go through all that with you. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about before we turn it over to Q&A would be our what's called our dual degree program. So I can almost guarantee that several of you have sat through now and said, oh boy, I really do need a computer science degree or a computer engineering degree to apply to this program, and I don't have it. What do I do now? So one suggestion, and what a lot of people do after talking to admissions or whatnot, or looking at the website, is they apply to the MCIT program. The MCIT program is an online program that allows the individuals that have no computer science background or very little computer science coursework or background, that we allow them now to get basically a computer science degree. So the what's conferred, the knowledge conferred in the MCIT program is the same knowledge that's conferred in a traditional computer science program. So that's the way you can get your computer science background, is through our MCIT program. Now, you can go through the MCIT program, and in your last semester, you can apply to the AI program as a dual degree student. And what that means is that 4 of the courses that you took in MCIT will count for the AI program. So 4 courses will double count for both program, leaving you only 6 more courses to get that second degree, to get that AI degree. So if this is something, if you apply to MCIT and you are fortunate enough to get admitted, you want to talk to your advisor right away and say, look, I am interested and I'm thinking about the dual degree program for MSE-AI. They will make sure you stay on track so that you can have the right 4 courses that would count for the second degree. And that's really important. So I always tell anybody that's interested in our dual degree, please let your advisor know early on. You want to make sure you're taking the right courses so that those courses can then transfer into the second degree. There are GPA requirements. I believe the GPA requirement is a 3.5 as a dual degree student. But again, if you have specific questions about that, admissions team is happy to help you with it. But that would definitely be the route to go if you don't have that CS degree or that CE degree. Okay, so I think now we can definitely open up to some questions. I know we have a bunch that came through. Let me just open that up. Okay, awesome. So the first question that came up is why is AI different from CS? Like if you can talk about what the differences are or whatnot is what they're asking for.
Yeah, so the main difference is just in the selection of courses that you'll take. So we selected and developed courses specifically to give you the foundational information that you need for artificial intelligence. So you could take a look at the MCIT curriculum for people who are learning computer science itself, and that includes things like data structures and algorithms and intro to programming, and really a lot of things that are important for general software engineering and long-term understanding of computer science. In the MSE-AI program, we assume that you've already got that information in place. So we jump right in with things like AI and NLP and machine learning and deep learning. So you can take a lot more courses that are specific to artificial intelligence if you enter it into the MSE AI.
And probably an extension to that would be, so there's people asking like they feel like they've gotten their basic computer science skills through MOOCs or, like certificate type programs. So can you kind of explain the difference between like if you take these MOOCs and what it's like to actually take, a program in CS and graduate with a CS degree?
Yeah, so we are really looking for a full computer science experience, and you can get that either as an undergraduate if you've taken computer science or computer engineering at another university, or you can get it through our MCIT online. So, we say or related programs, but um, the we are really looking for people who have very solid computer science and computer engineering backgrounds already. And so, if in doubt, you can ask our admissions team. And for some people who apply directly into the AI degree program who we think might not yet have the foundation in computer science that they need, we sometimes offer admission into the MCIT program with the idea that if they wanted to enroll in that, that they can continue along via the dual degree program that Jackie mentioned.
Yeah, one of the things that I think the admission team usually says is like if you look at the course curriculum, for a traditional like Masters of Science in Computer Science or undergrad degree in computer science, and look at that kind of course curriculum, that equivalent degree would mean you'd have to have that, basically have that coursework. So we kind of use that as the barometer when we're talking to people, is you need to have the similar courses that the degree has, is really what it kind of comes down to. We also have some questions in here about the difference between the DS program and the AI program. And they're seeing some similarities in courses, but like what, if you can explain the difference.
Yeah, so there is some degree of overlap between the two. So you'll notice that a couple of our core required courses in the MSc AI are actually drawn from our data science degree. So we have machine learning for data science and statistics for data science that were originally developed for those. So the two are overlapping. the data science, we're also aiming for slightly different career paths for those students. So it both differs in like where we think the students will end up with after they've graduated, but also who we're pulling in. So if you have a degree in a quantitative field other than computer science, like statistics, then data science is a route for you. We also have a dual degree option between MCIT and data science, but not between data science and AI because there is that overlap. So it doesn't make sense because we don't, yeah, the overlap is too great. So you couldn't reuse the same number of classes as you could for the intro MCIT
Yeah,
courses.
exactly, for sure. And then we have a question that says, how does the program balance practical work and theory? Are the
Hmm.
courses project heavy?
Yeah, this is a great question. So, a lot of the design of a computer science curriculum has to grapple with exactly this question. So, in one way that I like to describe it is as, you need to strike a balance between courses that are evergreen or topics that are evergreen, meaning they're going to last throughout your entire career and there'll be knowledge that you can build on and refer back to for many, many years versus things that are timely and the latest topics in computer science, like whether it's the latest and greatest programming language or API or whatever. So we do try to strike a balance there, and we have lots of courses that give you the foundational things that we think are evergreen and going to be unchanging. But because AI is such a fast-moving field at the moment, we also try to keep pace with a lot of the things that are happening with LLMs and all the different changes there. The different courses have different flavors in terms of what kinds of assessments they have. So my artificial intelligence class is primarily programming heavy. So you do small, small. You do 5 to 10
They're not
hours of.
small. They are not small. I'm sure they're not small.
They're we short because we only give you a week, but not really small. So intense week long programming exercises that test out your knowledge and get you to have real hands-on experience with programming the algorithms that we're studying. And we do offer things like auto graders that will tell you exactly how close you are to having a fully correct solution so you can iterate on your solutions and as well as getting help from the teaching assistant. So not small, I retract that statement. Um, and then other courses are assessed differently. So I know that Principles of Deep Learning is a more mathematically focused one. So there you're going into the theory rather than the practical applications that I focus on. And then for the technology ethics class, you do a lot of reading and responses to reading. So quite a range of how individual courses are assessed. And then for ones that are like form a larger project, we've got a new practicum class that's under development at the moment and should launch uh, while you're a student in the program. And that's kind of like a bigger kind of portfolio style, capstone style project. But that is not required. So if you prefer the like bite-sized chunk, then you're good.
Well, speaking of that, there is a question on the practicum, and someone is asking if you have any details that you can share on what students can expect from this practicum and the learning experience.
Yeah, so it's
Mhm.
still under it's still in formulation. I did a dry run of my flavor of it on campus this past semester. So uh, the way that I did it was as a team-based, project-based course. So we had like about 5 students per project. Each one of the projects we had created were ones that were either self-designed by the team or proposed by one of my PhD students who co-mentored the students in the class. So this version was pretty research focused, but a lot of students built prototypes and things like that. And then we've run another version that like also could potentially allow people to bring in projects that maybe their employer had proposed and we mentored and made sure that they met the criteria that we're looking for in order to have them meet the degree requirements. So still TBD exactly how that all wrap out, but the high level view is like it should be applied, you should build something, you should evaluate it, and it should be relevant for artificial intelligence. So I think that leaves quite a range of interesting potential applications.
Yeah, I know there's definitely, we get a lot of questions about that, a lot of interest in it for sure. We have some questions about exams and grading. So they're asking, like, how do exams work? Are they all at a particular time? Do you sign up for a time slot? And are tests graded by a human or by computer?
Yeah, so the tests are done as a block of days. So for all of our online exams, you usually have like a 3 to 4 day period, and it's a timed exam that's proctored through some proctoring software called HonorLock. So you're recorded as you're taking the exam to make sure that you're doing it honestly and not using materials that aren't allowed on the exam. And then the usually the exams are a mixture of things that are easy to grade, like multiple choice questions. So that's not really AI grading, but it's automatically graded. We know what the correct answer is. And then, short paragraph long essays, and those are manually graded by me and by the teaching staff, like the teaching assistants. And then they are timed exams, so you get to pick what time you start, as long as it's within the exam window, that's fine. And then for students who have like a accommodation, we have a process to liaise with Penn's students with disabilities services, and so usually we can accommodate people who need like time and a half for exams and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. And then are there, I would assume because we have students from like 40 different countries that there's, we represent pretty much all the time zones within those exam periods.
Yeah. So the exam can be taken at any time. In order to make it fair, we tend not to allow live questions during the exam,
Yeah.
exactly because if all of our professors and teaching assistants are asleep in your time zone, like we don't want to be unfair to that.
Yeah, that's certainly not going to work for sure. Okay. Well, it looks like we pretty much covered all of the questions, so I think we can go ahead and wrap this up. One last question. You kind of touched upon this. I forgot this one. It says, with AI advancements occurring at lightning speed, how does the MSE-AI program plan to stay up to date with industry changes, especially with course materials?
Yeah, so the courses, we've designed them to try to balance that. So the bulk of the courses are things that don't need to be changed that often. But Penn Engineering Online encourages faculty members to update 10 to 15% of their courses each time that they teach it. So we add new assessment materials. We sometimes re-record lectures or add additional bits. So that's the main way that we do it. And then we also, do a lot of activities where we discuss things outside of class. So trends and stuff like that are super timely, like DeepSeek R1. We had an hour-long discussion about it. So although it's not like a homework assignment that we've designed for you, you do get a good chance to talk about those changes. And a lot of the students and the TAs have careers in the field. So I also benefit from hearing from uh, students who are actively engaged in industry.
Yeah, that's awesome because everybody can share their experiences. That's great. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to provide you with some information of like what happens now. The webinar's over. You have more questions. What do you do? So I'm going to show you in a minute on, yep, here we go. We're bringing the presentation back up. Perfect. So you have more questions. What do you do? There's three main things that I would do. Check out our FAQ database. We have tons of questions and answers in there. You can use the QR code to get to that. Office hours. We have office hours. Admissions has office hours almost every day of the week, including the weekends, including evenings. So again, we try to cover all of those time zones. Sign up for office hours. You'll meet with one of our admissions counselors. You can ask any of the questions that you want. If for some reason they don't know the answers, we will work it out for you and find out what those answers are. Additional events. We have lots of webinars coming up this month. We have an MCIT webinar next week. We have an MSEDS webinar the following week. Both of those will have their corresponding program directors as well who will be presenting. We have coffee chats every week this month, the month of February. We have coffee chats. So lots of ways to get in touch with us, to learn about our programs, to learn about the admissions process. So I definitely urge you to get involved in as many of these as you can. Coffee chats are great. What I love about a coffee chat, even if you think you don't have any questions, come to a coffee chat and hear what other applicants are asking, because I think that sparks a lot of, oh, I didn't realize that. That's a great question. So I definitely think it's a good way to come and see what other applicants are asking as well. It's a great learning event for sure. And if all that fails, or you just want to talk to us, email us. There's our email address. It's online-admission@seas.upenn.edu. We really do our best to answer all emails within 24 hours, of course, during the work week. And sometimes we're even answering on the weekends, but we can't promise weekend answers, but definitely within 24 hours during the week for sure. So we love to hear from our applicants, so please don't be shy. We're happy to help you. So we thank you so much for being here today. Professor Callison-Burch, thank you so much. You always give us so much information. I always learn something. I appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody else does. It was fun, so thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you all for your enthusiasm about applying for a degree program, and I hope to see many of you in class soon.
Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.